Did modeling while in high school? No. Modeling came after high school. Yeah, I was picked up for that pretty much right after graduation. And I really do mean like right after graduation. Like I think I was uneducated. Like, how do I phrase this? I was out of school and work for maybe a week or two, like less than a month, because it was kind of in motion near the end of graduation. Yeah, I got into it through a friend. You know, I was not working any jobs while I was a student. I did hobbyist stuff in other areas as a student, but not as like a serious job. Like that was when I learned vocal editing, for example. Wonder what it's like. Well, honestly, modeling is a very, how do I phrase it? It's a difficult thing to summarize because it takes on a lot of different shapes and forms depending on things like, you know, the focus of the modeling and then within that, like the style, like the fashion. And then beyond all of that, there's also like differences from country to country or even like region to region. I've got limited experience in a few areas. Because, you know, there are different types of modeling. You can model for art. You can model for like fashion expos. I did thankfully get to do a little bit of that. I wish I could have gotten to do more of it because I always thought that was really cool. Like when the whole point of the fashion expo is specifically to showcase current fabrics and tailoring styles, like the really high-end stuff. I always thought that was really cool. My main experience though was primarily smaller scale photo shoots. In my experience, it would be you know, I'd get a ride to a private studio, and they'd have a rack in the area with a few articles, garments on it, like a number of coats, tops, pants and stuff. And as far as the shooting goes, I feel like there are a lot of viral videos of like, you know, how many poses can you strike in 1 minute? Professional model strikes 10,000 poses. In my experience, it was never really like that. That's not how it was at all. Yeah, a lot of the time it would be a bit more slow paced, a bit more casual. As far as the clothes, there would be like in between stages as well sometimes where like I would partially change the outfit in between shots. It'd be like, all right, Kaelix, I want to do this one, but with this coat on instead. Or, all right, now we can unbutton the coat. Or now we can add this neckerchief. Things like that. Yeah, that's where the bulk of my experience is. Which is not, again, it cannot adequately summarize modeling as a whole. So it's hard to say, like, what is modeling like? It's hard to say. Because it's very, very different. Even within the same style of modeling, there are going to be differences based on the preferences and the workflow that is imposed by the director or by the photographer. And sometimes you'll have a separate director and photographer as two people. Sometimes the director is the photographer. Sometimes leadership is distributed among a team of people. It's complicated. Directed with poses. I think there are people that will direct you more, but in my case, it was usually more free. Sometimes they'd be like, oh, can you do this a little bit more? But yeah, a lot of the time it was more for me. In my case. Again, just my experience. It's different for everybody. At least that's what I figure. I have a very limited scope of what it's like in the grand scheme. Would I ever do it again? I hope it never comes to that. Personally, I don't think I'd like to. Well, I make it sound like it's a miserable thing. It was not that bad. It really was not. It just wasn't for me in the end. Yeah, I personally would, if it were 100% in my control, I would not do it again. Just close. I did model for students earlier in my career. That was something I did a few times. No nude modeling, of course, before you get your mind in that direction. Yeah, I did model for students a couple times, mostly clothes. You know, that is to say, like, I've never been a hand model or like a foot model or any of those specialized things before. So yeah, I was mostly clothes.